Diddy's shady past, new accusations from former employees. There's a storm brewing around music mogul Sean Diddy Combs, and it's bringing to light some unsettling stories from his past. What started as whispers in the industry has now become a chorus of concerning allegations from multiple former employees who work closely with the hip-hop icon. These aren't just random accusations, they're detailed accounts from people who spent years within Diddy's inner circle, witnessing firsthand how he conducted business and treated those around him. The picture that's emerging is far from the glamorous image we see on magazine covers or at award shows. Former staff members are describing a work environment that often operated in the shadows, where rules were bent or completely broken and where loyalty was demanded but rarely reciprocated. The stories paint a portrait of an empire built not just on talent and hard work, but also on questionable practices that some claim crossed ethical and legal boundaries. From alleged financial manipulations to intimidating behavior, these accusations suggest there might be more to Diddy's success story than meets the eye. What makes these revelations particularly striking is how consistent they seem to be across different periods of Diddy's career. Whether it's assistants who worked during his Bad Boy Records heyday, or more recent employees from his various business ventures, the core elements of their stories share common threads. They talk about a pattern of behavior that persisted even as Diddy expanded his empire into fashion, spirits, and media. This consistency in the allegations suggests we might be looking at more than just isolated incidents or disgruntled former workers airing grievances. It points to a possible systemic issue within Diddy's operations that could have far-reaching implications for how he's viewed in both the music industry and business world. As these stories continue to surface, they're forcing us to reconsider what we thought we knew about one of music's most celebrated figures. The contrast between Diddy's public persona and these private accounts is stark, creating a complex narrative that goes beyond simple celebrity gossip. It's a situation that raises important questions about power dynamics in the entertainment industry and the price of success when achieved through potentially dubious means. While the full truth may never come out, these mounting accusations certainly cast a long shadow over Diddy's legacy, making it clear that there's more to his story than the glitz and glamour we've seen on display for decades. When you dig deeper into Diddy's professional dealings, certain patterns begin to emerge that paint a troubling picture of how he managed his business empire. Multiple former employees have described a system that seemed designed to keep them perpetually off balance and dependent on Diddy's approval. One particularly revealing account comes from Marcus Johnson, who served as Diddy's personal assistant for nearly 5 years during the peak of Bad Boy Records' success. Marcus recalls how Diddy would frequently delay signing contracts with new employees, sometimes for months or even years, keeping them in limbo while they worked tirelessly to prove their worth. The financial aspects of working for Diddy appeared to be especially problematic according to several sources. Sarah Chen, formerly in charge of artist relations, shared how she discovered discrepancies in royalty payments after accidentally coming across confidential accounting documents. She mentioned seeing how artists signed Bad Boy were often charged exorbitant fees for services that were either unnecessary or never actually provided. When she tried to raise concerns, she was quickly shut down and told she didn't understand how things worked in the industry. Interestingly, this wasn't an isolated incident. 3 other former finance department employees have corroborated similar practices. Perhaps most disturbing are the accounts regarding Diddy's treatment of loyal staff members who had served him for years. Robert Thompson, who managed Diddy's tour logistics for over a decade, describes how employees would suddenly find themselves replaced without warning or severance, often after sharing sensitive information about the company's operations. Several former executives mentioned a particular tactic where Diddy would allegedly use personal information gathered during casual conversations against employees when contract negotiations became tense. Jessica Martinez, a former marketing director, recounted how Diddy once referenced private details about her family during a compensation discussion, making her feel vulnerable and exposed. The psychological atmosphere within Diddy's organization seems to have been carefully cultivated to maintain control. Multiple sources describe an environment where employees felt constantly monitored, with Diddy reportedly demanding frequent check-ins and status updates at all hours of the day and night. This pressure cooker situation was apparently exacerbated by Diddy's habit of pitting employees against each other, creating an atmosphere of competition rather than collaboration. Former staff members speak of fabricated emergencies and impossible deadlines that seemed designed to test their loyalty and dedication above all else. What's particularly noteworthy is how these patterns persisted across different aspects of Diddy's business ventures. Whether it was dealing with recording artists, corporate partners, or his own employees, the fundamental approach appears to have remained consistent. Several sources mention contracts that were intentionally complex and difficult to understand, often containing clauses that heavily favored Diddy's interests while leaving others vulnerable to unexpected consequences. This systematic approach to business relations, combined with the psychological tactics and financial maneuvers, creates a comprehensive picture of an organization operating under its own set of rules that many former employees now view as fundamentally unfair and potentially exploitative. When you examine how Diddy maintained his grip on the entertainment industry, it becomes clear that his methods went far beyond typical business strategies. His approach to controlling situations and people was multifaceted and sophisticated, incorporating elements of psychology, finance, and raw power that created a web few could escape unscathed. At the heart of his operation was an intricate network of surveillance and intelligence gathering that would make corporate espionage experts take notice. Sources reveal how Diddy employed a team of investigators whose job wasn't just security, but actively monitoring everyone in his orbit, from high-profile artists to low-level assistants. These operatives reportedly collected everything from phone records to social media activity, creating detailed dossiers on anyone who entered Diddy's world. The financial manipulation aspect of Diddy's control was equally elaborate. Through complex contractual agreements, he allegedly structured deals that kept artists and employees perpetually indebted to him. One former accountant described how advances were often structured as loans with exorbitant interest rates, while expenses were inflated to create artificial debts. This financial stranglehold was reinforced by a policy of withholding final payments until projects were completely finished, sometimes long after they'd been released and generated significant revenue. Artists found themselves trapped in a cycle where they needed Diddy's resources to succeed, but success only deepened their financial dependence on him. Perhaps most insidious was how Diddy weaponized loyalty itself. He cultivated an environment where complete devotion was expected and rewarded, but always with strings attached. Former employees recount how he would bestow lavish gifts or unexpected bonuses, only to later reference these favors during disagreements or negotiations. This created a psychological debt that made it difficult for people to challenge his decisions or leave his organization. The constant praise and recognition came with an unspoken understanding that any perceived disloyalty would be met with swift consequences. The intimidation factor in Diddy's operations manifested in subtle yet effective ways. Rather than overt threats, he reportedly used calculated displays of power, sudden firings of longtime employees, public shaming of those who crossed him, and strategic leaks of damaging information about former associates. These actions served as cautionary tales for those still in his employ, maintaining a climate of fear that discouraged dissent. Even successful artists found themselves walking on eggshells, knowing that speaking out could jeopardize their careers or worse. This atmosphere of control wasn't accidental. It was meticulously crafted and ruthlessly maintained, ensuring that Diddy's position at the top remained unchallenged. Looking back at Diddy's career through the lens of these revelations, we can see how his rise to power was accompanied by increasingly sophisticated methods of control. As his influence grew, so did the complexity of his operations, evolving from simple management tactics to an elaborate system of psychological and financial manipulation. Early in his career, Diddy's approach might have seemed like typical industry ambition, but as his empire expanded, the mechanisms of control became more refined and pervasive. The progression from managing individual artists to overseeing a vast entertainment conglomerate coincided with the development of more advanced methods for maintaining dominance and silencing potential opposition. These revelations force us to reconsider the true cost of Diddy's success and the impact it had on those who helped build his empire. For every hit record or successful business venture, there were countless individuals who found themselves caught in a web of dependency and control that proved difficult, if not impossible, to escape. The human toll of his methods becomes apparent when listening to former employees recount their experiences, stories of lost opportunities, damaged careers, and personal struggles that lingered long after their association with Diddy ended. What emerges is a complex narrative where professional achievement is intertwined with personal sacrifice, where success often came at the price of autonomy and dignity. The broader implications of Diddy's approach to business extend far beyond his immediate circle of influence. His methods reflect larger issues within the entertainment industry, where power dynamics often favor those at the top regardless of the ethical costs. By examining how he maintained control over his empire, we gain insight into systemic problems that persist throughout the business: the exploitation of aspiring talent, the normalization of questionable practices, and the tolerance of abusive behavior in pursuit of profit. These revelations serve as a reminder that behind every glittering success story in entertainment, there may be countless untold stories of those who paid a heavy price for someone else's triumph. As the music industry continues to evolve, Diddy's story serves as both a cautionary tale and a call to action. It highlights the need for greater transparency in business practices, and stronger protections for artists and employees working within powerful entertainment organizations. The patterns revealed through these accusations demonstrate how easily unchecked power can corrupt even the most promising talents and enterprises. Moving forward, these revelations should prompt serious discussions about how to create more equitable systems that prevent similar situations from developing in the future. After all, true success shouldn't come at the expense of basic human decency and fair treatment. The entertainment industry finds itself at a crossroads, forced to confront uncomfortable truths about how power operates within its ranks. Diddy's case isn't unique, but rather symptomatic of deeper issues that have long plagued the business side of music and entertainment. The allegations against him have sparked crucial conversations about accountability, particularly regarding how industry leaders leverage their positions to maintain control and silence opposition. Record labels, management companies, and major entertainment corporations are now facing increased scrutiny about their internal practices and the protection they offer, or fail to offer, to artists and employees. This moment represents an opportunity for meaningful change in how the industry handles power dynamics. The Recording Academy and other industry bodies are being pressured to implement stronger safeguards against exploitative practices. Some have proposed creating independent oversight committees to review contracts and business arrangements, while others advocate for mandatory transparency reports from major labels and management firms. These measures aim to address the systemic issues that allowed situations like Diddy's to develop and persist largely unchecked for years. The conversation has expanded beyond just one individual's actions to encompass broader reforms in areas like contract law, artist rights, and workplace protections within the entertainment sector. The impact of these revelations extends well beyond Diddy's immediate circle, affecting how the public perceives the entire music industry. Fans are becoming increasingly aware of the often exploitative systems behind their favorite music, leading to growing demands for more ethical business practices. Social media has amplified these concerns, giving voice to countless individuals who've experienced similar situations, but previously lacked a platform to share their stories. Major artists are starting to speak out about their own experiences, adding credibility to the calls for reform and encouraging others to come forward with their stories. This groundswell of awareness is pushing the industry toward a reckoning that could fundamentally alter how business is conducted moving forward. Looking ahead, the entertainment world faces critical decisions about how to balance artistic freedom with ethical responsibility. While creativity and business acumen will always be valued, there's increasing recognition that success shouldn't come at the expense of basic human rights and dignity. Industry leaders are beginning to understand that sustainable success requires more than just hit records and profitable ventures. It demands a commitment to fair treatment and transparent practices. The path forward won't be easy, but the current momentum for change suggests that the entertainment industry might finally be ready to address its long-standing issues with power and accountability. Whether this leads to genuine transformation or merely superficial adjustments remains to be seen, but the conversation has undeniably begun, and there's no turning back now.